Listen, listen, listen. This is not a rap beef anymore. This is not a diss track. This is not two grown men arguing on Instagram. This is a burial. A televised, prestige format, gold statue endorsed burial. And the man holding the shovel just got nominated 3 separate times for how beautifully he dug the hole. You guys, if you've been sleeping on what 50 Cent just accomplished, wake up right now. Because what happened this week is the single most humiliating thing that has ever happened to Sean Combs. And I say that knowing everything else that is currently on the man's record. Before we get into the surgical breakdown, hit that subscribe button, because what I am about to walk you through is not just a news story. This is a case study in how to end a mogul without ever swinging a fist. This is a graduate seminar in modern character assassination performed with a Netflix budget and a Television Academy stamp of approval on the syllabus, delivered in 4 crisp hours of ice-cold prestige filmmaking. Let me set the stage. 50 Cent. The same 50 Cent that everybody wrote off as a bitter troll. The same 50 Cent that every media outlet accused of running a personal vendetta. The same 50 Cent that Diddy's PR team laughed at behind closed doors for years. Just walked into the 2026 Emmy nomination announcement with 3. Count them, 3 nominations attached to a Netflix documentary called The Reckoning. Outstanding documentary or nonfiction series. Outstanding directing. Outstanding picture editing. 3 categories. 3 institutional cosigns. 3 permanent, carved-in stone acknowledgments that the story of Diddy's downfall, as told by his biggest hater, is officially prestige television that critics, peers, and gatekeepers alike had to applaud with a straight face on live camera. You cannot come back from that. I want to be so clear about this. You cannot come back from that. Diddy cannot spin his way out of it. Diddy cannot sue his way out of it. Diddy cannot buy his way out of it. And Diddy definitely cannot rap his way out of it. Because, let's keep it a buck, Diddy has never actually been a rapper. Diddy is a man who used to stand behind Biggie in a shiny suit and ad-lib. Diddy is a man who allegedly stole beats and slapped the producer credit on other people's work. The idea of Diddy sitting in a booth trying to trade bars with 50 Cent in 2026 is comedic. It is slapstick. It is a Saturday morning cartoon. And even if Diddy somehow pulled off the greatest lyrical performance of his life, it still would not matter. Because you cannot outrhyme an Emmy nomination. There is no bar. There is no punchline. There is no metaphor that beats a gold statue. Now here is the angle nobody else is discussing. Everybody is treating this like a scoreboard update. 50 Cent 1, Diddy 0. But that framing misses the bigger, uglier truth. This is not about winning a beef. This is about the moment an enemy becomes an author. And once your enemy becomes the author of your story, the beef is not the story anymore. The beef becomes a footnote inside the story. And Diddy just watched the Television Academy hand 50 Cent the pen, the ink, and the printing press. Think about what actually had to happen for The Reckoning to even exist. 50 Cent did not wake up one morning, film a 2-minute rant, and call it a documentary. 50 Cent spent years, actual years, building relationships with sources, sitting through interviews, cross-referencing timelines, pulling receipts, chasing whistleblowers, convincing Netflix, one of the most cautious legal operations on the planet, to greenlight 4 hours of allegations against a man with unlimited legal resources. That takes patience. That takes stamina. That takes a level of long game thinking that nobody, and I mean nobody, credited 50 Cent for having. And now the same industry gatekeepers who called him petty are calling him nominated. Here is the part that has to eat at Diddy in that cell at Fort Dix every single night. Diddy spent his entire career, his entire life, chasing legitimacy. Diddy wanted to be more than a producer. Diddy wanted to be more than a hitmaker. Diddy wanted his name in the same rooms as media titans, fashion houses, film executives. Diddy chased the Vanity Fair covers. Diddy chased the White House dinners. Diddy chased the shiny, respectable, mainstream approval that the music industry alone could never give him. And in the cruelest twist imaginable, the only Combs-adjacent project the Television Academy has ever nominated for a prestige Emmy is the one designed to expose him. That is not losing. That is cosmic irony. That is the universe writing a punchline. That is Shakespeare-level dramatic reversal. And Diddy is not the protagonist. Diddy is the antagonist. Diddy is the cautionary tale. Diddy is the source material. And here is what people are not saying loud enough. The Reckoning is not going to disappear. Documentaries do not disappear. Documentaries do not fall off streaming platforms. Documentaries get shelved in university film programs. Documentaries get referenced in future documentaries. Documentaries become the primary source for journalists 20, 30, 40 years from now writing retrospectives about the collapse of Bad Boy Records. This is not a diss track that stops playing on the radio when the next hot single drops. This is permanent cultural infrastructure. And every single time a film student, a journalist, a historian, or a curious viewer types Diddy's name into a search bar for the rest of time, 3 little words are going to sit right underneath the thumbnail. Emmy, nominated, documentary. That is Diddy's SEO now, forever. Let me hit you with something else, because 50 Cent is not just spiking the football. 50 Cent is doing the whole choreographed end zone dance. Right after nominations dropped, Fifth posted, and I am paraphrasing here, to keep in my own words, that everybody had a mouthful of criticism when he first announced the project, and now the Emmys have a mouthful of praise. That is not the caption of somebody who thinks he is in a beef. That is the caption of somebody who already won, and is signing autographs on the way to the parking lot. And can we talk about the audacity? Diddy in his prime treated 50 Cent like an annoyance, like a fly, like something to swat away between mogul meetings. Diddy dismissed 50 Cent's warning for years. Diddy laughed at 50 Cent's memes. Diddy told anybody who would listen that 50 Cent was obsessed with him, jealous of him, beneath him. And now the same man Diddy dismissed is the man whose name will be read aloud at the Emmys, potentially on a stage, potentially holding a statue, potentially thanking the Netflix executives who bet on this project when the mainstream press was still calling Diddy a visionary. Now I want to zoom out, because there's a second story happening simultaneously that most channels are not connecting to this Emmy news, and it is criminal to leave it out. While 50 Cent is on top of the world, Diddy's twin daughters just launched a clothing brand called 1221, named after their December 21st birthday. They dropped a debut collection called the 77 Collection. It is sweatsuits. It is matching sets. It is their brothers modeling the pieces. And Diddy from prison released a statement through TMZ calling it a proud dad moment, and with a straight face too. I am going to say something that might be uncomfortable, but it is honest. When you are the father of an Emmy-nominated documentary about your alleged monstrosity, you do not really get to have proud dad moments about a sweatsuit line named after a birthday. The tonal mismatch is jarring. The optics are radioactive. The daughters may be sweet. The daughters may have real design instincts. The daughters may genuinely have hustled on this brand. But no consumer with a functioning news feed is looking at that logo and separating it from the last name stitched next to it. That last name has too much gravity right now. And here is where I have to be transparent with you guys. Every single one of Diddy's adult children has publicly stood by their father. Every single one has done interviews asking the public to look past the allegations. Every single one has framed Diddy as misunderstood, mistreated, and unfairly targeted. None of them have acknowledged the video of Cassie in that hallway. None of them have acknowledged the civil suits. None of them have expressed a single syllable of solidarity with the accusers. And when a family closes ranks that tightly around a man that multiple judges have described as a dangerous society, the family's business ventures become extensions of that stance. That is not cruelty. That is consistency. You cannot ask the public to ignore documented harm while simultaneously asking that same public to swipe a credit card for your sweatsuit. The comparison writing itself is Forever 21. Same numerical branding energy. Same fast fashion sweatsuit debut. Same aesthetic. And Forever 21, for those keeping score, filed bankruptcy, shuttered UK locations, and has been circling the drain for years. Launching a brand that visually and phonetically echoes a collapsing retail ghost in the same month your father's alleged crimes get Emmy nominated is not a launch strategy. That is a lemonade stand in a hurricane. Nobody is thirsty. Everybody is watching the storm. And the storm has a last name, and that last name is stitched into every hem of every hoodie in the 77 collection. Now, let me pivot back to main event, because there's a psychological dimension to this Emmy news that I have not seen anybody articulate yet. Diddy built his empire on perception. Diddy sold the idea of Diddy harder than Diddy ever sold an actual album. The shiny suits, the Ciroc campaigns, the Making the Band drama, the Fashion Week appearances, the yacht photos, the reality show, the perfume, the vodka, the everything. Diddy engineered mythology, and that mythology was a product. That mythology is what commanded respect in rooms Diddy did not belong in. That mythology is what got Diddy invited to the tables. And 50 Cent, brick by brick, receipt by receipt, allegation by allegation, dismantled that mythology and replaced it with a new one, a documented one, a 4-part one, an Emmy-nominated one. And once an institution weighs in, the story stops belonging to the subject. That is the part nobody is emphasizing enough. When the Television Academy says a documentary about Diddy is excellent, the story of Diddy no longer belongs to Diddy. The story belongs to the culture. The story belongs to the archive. The story belongs to whoever gets to shape the next retrospective, the next syllabus, the next textbook chapter. And the person shaping that chapter is not Diddy's PR team. It is 50 Cent. You want to know why 50 Cent is untouchable in this fight? Because 50 Cent stopped fighting as a rapper years ago. 50 Cent evolved into a builder. 50 Cent has power. 50 Cent has BMF. 50 Cent has stars deals, Netflix deals, production credits, executive credits, and now an Emmy nomination caliber documentary credit. Diddy is fighting an executive producer with a legal team, a distribution partner, and an award nomination. Diddy is bringing a mixtape to a boardroom fight. That is not a battle. That is a mismatch of eras. That is a man from 2004 trying to swing at a man from 2026. And the man from 2026 has already written the epitaph, hired a graphic designer for the tombstone, and pre-ordered the flowers for the ceremony. Speculation is swirling that Diddy might get released this year, assuming no additional criminal charges emerge. Let me ask a question nobody in the mogul's camp seems willing to ask out loud. What is Diddy actually releasing to? What does that first day of freedom actually look like? A world where the most searched keyword attached to Diddy is a Netflix docuseries. A world where Diddy's own children's business ventures are viewed through a suspicion filter. A world where Diddy's accusers are still lawyered up and lined up. A world where the culture has moved so far past Diddy that the songs Diddy produced are being reevaluated for who they were sampling, not who was in the booth. And a world where 50 Cent is standing there with 3 Emmy nominations, a smirk, and enough new content queued up to keep the pressure on indefinitely, month after month, post after post, cycle after cycle, quarter after quarter, year after year, decade after decade. There's been chatter about Diddy hopping on a Spin That remix when the release date hits. Let me tell you what I am calling that song right now. Platinum Copper. Technically a unit of measurement. Practically worthless. Nobody is refreshing streaming platforms for a Diddy comeback single. Nobody is DJ dropping that record in a club that a promoter will still have a job at the following weekend. The cultural moment moved on, and 50 Cent is the primary architect of the moving. Because here is the underappreciated 50 Cent skill. Fifth did not just troll. Fifth documented. There's a difference. Trolling is a moment. Documenting is a monument. Trolling dies with the algorithm. Documenting lives on Netflix. Trolling gets you unfollowed. Documenting gets you nominated. 50 Cent is not the hater in the story anymore. 50 Cent is a historian. And the Television Academy just gave the historian a peer-reviewed cosign that no amount of counterspin can dilute or reroute or contain or bury. Now I want you guys to sit with something for a second, because this is the emotional core of the whole situation. Diddy is inside a federal facility right now. Diddy is hearing about these nominations through lawyers, through visiting hours, through whatever limited channels remain accessible. And Diddy has no move. Zero. Diddy cannot draft a response that will land. Diddy cannot leak a counter-narrative that will stick. Diddy cannot summon the machinery Diddy used to summon, because the machinery has been repossessed by the culture. That is a specific and rare type of powerlessness for a man who spent 40 years engineering the exact opposite condition. And 50 Cent is not slowing down. Fifth keeps posting. Fifth keeps commenting. Fifth keeps reminding the audience that when Diddy walks out of Fort Dix, 50 Cent will be right there, digitally if not physically, holding a megaphone and a hyperlink to the docuseries. That is not obsession. That is a completed thesis with a lifetime warranty. That is the difference between a hater and a historian. And the Emmys just certified which category 50 Cent falls into. Let me hit the deeper irony one more time, because it deserves it. Diddy has Grammys. Diddy has BET Awards. Diddy has commercial plaques on the wall. But Diddy has never been taken seriously as a creative in the way an Emmy nomination signifies. Emmys are for craft. Emmys are for rigor. Emmys are for the type of work that gets studied in film school. And now the only Combs-adjacent project the Television Academy has ever elevated to that level is the one that treats Diddy as evidence, not as artist. Diddy has been reduced to the raw material. 50 Cent is a sculptor, and the sculpture is titled The Reckoning. You want to know what is going to happen when the actual ceremony rolls around? Whether The Reckoning wins or loses in each category, the phrase Emmy nominated is now permanently attached. Nominated does not go away. Nominated stays on the poster. Nominated stays in the press release. Nominated stays on Wikipedia. Nominated becomes part of the show's identity forever. So even in the version of the future where the Academy hands the trophies to other projects, 50 Cent still walks away with a permanent institutional cosign attached to the greatest takedown project of his career. There is also something poetic about the timing. Diddy sitting in Fort Dix. Diddy's daughters launching a nostalgia-branded sweatsuit line. Diddy's alleged victims still preparing for civil discovery. Diddy's former inner circle, allegedly distancing themselves in whispers. And on top of that entire crumbling ecosystem, 50 Cent is climbing a red carpet in a tailored suit with 3 nominations pinned to a lapel. Every scene of that split screen is telling the same story. Diddy tried to control the narrative. 50 Cent sees it. Diddy tried to bury the receipts. 50 Cent had them scanned, archived, and cinematically restaged. Diddy tried to outlast the cycle. 50 Cent turned the cycle into a syllabus. And when we talk about legacy, this is what I want the audience to understand. Legacy is not what you say about yourself. Legacy is what other people are allowed to say about you after the microphones are off. And the microphone is off for Diddy. Diddy does not get to shape the narrative from a federal facility. Diddy does not get to overrule Netflix. Diddy does not get to unnominate an Emmy contender. Diddy is a passenger in Diddy's own biography now. And 50 Cent is the one driving the car. And the car is a limousine on the way to an award ceremony that Diddy will not be attending in any capacity, physical or symbolic or spiritual. Some of you might push back and say the beef is not over because Diddy could come back with something explosive. Ask yourself honestly, what would that even look like? A tell-all interview? Diddy already tried that on Instagram, and it flopped. A memoir? Who is publishing that and who is buying it? A comeback album? See Platinum Copper above. A counter-documentary? Diddy would need cooperating witnesses, and the cooperating witnesses right now are on the other side. Every single lane Diddy would normally take is either blocked, shrunk, or under construction, and 50 Cent is holding the traffic cones. So yes, I am saying it plainly. This beef is done. This beef is buried. This beef has a headstone, and the headstone reads Emmy nominated in gold lettering. Diddy did not just lose to 50 Cent, Diddy lost to the archive. Diddy lost to Prestige Television. Diddy lost to a documentary team that treated Diddy's life as a case file and got applauded for it. There is no comeback tour, no comeback single, no comeback interview, and no comeback strategy that can outrun that. You cannot outstrategize a permanent nomination. You cannot buy back a chapter of history that has already been printed library-bound and shelved right next to the Watergate transcripts in the reference section of every serious research library in the country. Congratulations are in order for Fifth, for the Netflix production team, for the editors who cut those 4 hours into something the Academy could not ignore, and for every source who sat in front of camera and told the truth about what they saw happen behind closed penthouse doors. You guys took what could have been dismissed as tabloid noise and turned it into peer-reviewed cultural evidence. That is craft. That is patience. That is receipts stacked into a monument. And Diddy, wherever the next visiting hours find Diddy, understand that this is what an annihilation looks like when it is delivered in high definition with subtitles in 20 languages and a scored orchestral opening theme sequence rolling under the title card. You cannot get your lick back from a nomination. You just cannot. That is the story. That is a shift. That is the moment Diddy stopped being a mogul and became a topic. Drop reactions in the comments right now. Tell me whether Fifth walks away with a statue on ceremony night, or whether the nominations alone are already the win in your book. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, share this with somebody who still thinks this was ever a fair fight, and I will be right back here the second the next development lands on the timeline. Talk to y'all soon. Peace and prestige receipts.